as you said, I'm a podiatrist head to toe, which is a local holistic health centre. I also the owner and partner of it. I deal with feet all day. Some of you might say, yeah, that's horrible. And I've been doing that for about 15 years. So I'm going to be talking about, what I'm going to be talking to you about is one of the most common things that I deal with, and that's heel pain. How to recognise and self-treat, and when to seek some further help. And I'll also mention some alternative ways to treat that as well. Now, heel pain is a big subject, so and pain in the heel can manifest from many sorts of conditions. We just heard about sort of lots of diseases, and unfortunately, there are certain diseases that cause heel pain, like for example, spinal arthritis and gout, rheumatoid arthritis, Rita's disease, Parkinson's, other neurological problems that cause gait or walking difficulties. And there's also tumours, although that's very rare. Anything up to things like skin problems, for example, like cracked heels, corns, hard skins, verrucas, etc. So there's many conditions that cause heel pain, many manifestations of it. So I'm not going to be able to cover the whole thing in 10 minutes. So I'm only going to talk about a couple of conditions that I see quite a lot of, and I treat a lot of the time. And one of those is called plantar fasciitis. I don't know if any of you have actually come across this term. Well, plantar is basically just meaning the bottom of the foot, and fasciitis is basically just the inflammation of the tissue of the bottom of the foot. So it's nice and simple, isn't it? I'm not a professional speaker either, so you have to bear with me, sorry. So plantar fasciitis can cause, and often does, cause heel pain. Now, inflammation of the tissue at the bottom of the foot. The tissue is actually called the aponeurosis, and don't expect you to remember that, but it doesn't really matter. It's just thought it might be of interest. And what it is doing is it's attached to the heel bone, and the heel bone has got two little sort of bony prominences on it, and the tissue goes across the bottom of the foot into the base of the toes. And the most common thing that causes this tissue to cause heel pain and to stretch this tissue and pull it is another condition called abnormal pronation. I'll explain to you what that is. Okay, abnormal, you know what abnormal is. Pronation is just really a natural rolling out of the foot, such as this. So I haven't got any slides to present that, but basically I don't know if you can all see me, but basically as you put your foot down to the floor and it rolls out, that is pronation. So it's just a natural rolling out of the foot, and then obviously the foot actually rolls back out, which is also called supination, but we're not going to go into that side of it. So the natural rolling out of the foot is normal. Now, some of us, unfortunately, we do too much of that. In my personal opinion, and there is no evidence to suggest this, but in my personal opinions, I think one of the major causes of this condition of abnormal pronation is actually the flat surfaces that we walk on. Because, our feet aren't naturally adapted to flat surfaces. We are adapted to walking along sand and earth and all sorts of things like that. So we have to overcompensate, unfortunately, in modern society. So also the other thing about this abnormal pronation is sometimes it's there from when we're born. A baby, when they're born, they are born with their legs apart like that. They can't walk, they can't sit up, they can wiggle around a bit, and as they get older, they start, sitting up, and then as they, one and a half years old, they start to walk. Now, as a baby starts walking, they'll walk with their legs out like this. You've seen all that, they're toddling around. And that is because the hips and the legs are turned outwards. And as you get older, they start to rotate inwards. Now, unfortunately, sometimes what happens is, as we get older, further into childhood or later on in life, it doesn't quite get there. So we're left with this bit of abnormal pronation. Okay, this, if you like, flattening out of the arch. Flat feet is a perfect example of it. And obviously that would, over a period of time, that's going to have a knock-on effect, and it's going to cause us certain problems, like plantar fasciitis and heel pain. Now, how do you recognise plantar fasciitis? Okay, basically what happens is the first telltale sign is that you'll get up in the morning, you'll put your feet down on the floor, like so, and you'll be hobbling around. And it'll be very painful. And after a little bit of walking around, maybe 10-15 minutes, the pain subsides and it'll start to wear off. As the day draws on, you're not in too much pain, a bit of niggly pain maybe, until you get to the evening. You sit down maybe in front of the TV or whatever, or you start to relax. I know sitting down in front of the TV isn't very healthy, but we all do that sometimes, don't we? So, the pain will then you'll suddenly notice as your foot is resting, and the fluid will start filling up in the heel, and the pain will start coming back. Okay, so what can you do if you suspect you've got this condition of plantar fasciitis? My suggestion to you is, if you're involved in any heavy exercise programs, such as running, rugby, football, gym, boxercise, or whatever you do, any sort of classes and stuff like that, do not do it for about a week. Okay? Rest up. Don't go on any very, very long walks, because that will aggravate it. You can use cold and hot therapy. You might have come across that. A lot of physiotherapists use it. Basically what you're talking about here is you're getting like an ice pack or cold water, frozen vegetables, and a hot pack or hot water. Not scalding hot, because obviously you don't want to burn yourself. And you'll be basically doing a contrast of cold and hot, cold and hot, cold and hot. You do that for about 2 to 3 minutes at a time, and then you put some anti-inflammatory gel on, or you can use arnica or some natural anti-inflammatories. Like marigold is very good anti-inflammatory. You obviously rest, I said to you. Heel cushioning. Get some gel supports from the chemist or from a chiropodist, podiatrist, and you can also, if you suspect you've got some pronatory problems, arch supports, and also make sure you've got good shock absorbing shoes. Obviously rubber synthetic shoes, lace buckle or strap,